Today we are going to paint a seashell. I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, educator and a book author. Welcome to my studio. Before painting such a complex shape, let's map out main details. A little bit more rounded on the bottom, then kind of tail, then this fan looking edge, and a little bit of spiral bottom, and some more details that will help us when we will be painting. This seashell has a lot of very pearly, very tender colors, so I'm starting to mix ultramarine blue with hint of yellow and hint of pink. My goal is to create different varieties for pearly, grayish, nice looking mixes. I can even test them. I can vary amount of blue, vary also the shades I will have in my seashell. We need to find nice brown, orange, very warm tone. Let's have a look. Add a little bit of alizarin crimson to make it more on the pink side. So now let's start to paint, glaze the areas, but I will leave a little bit small untouched dry area between these ribs, because they will be mostly light parts, and I would like to emphasize that just with paper, just with clean paper, because we can't paint lighter than our paper. Our paper is our lightest point when we paint with watercolor. Therefore, I just keep some space untouched when I'm glazing this shape. I see that the top is more grayish. I will grab this blue mix and I start to add my grayish blue mix around. I can remove water from my brush with a paper towel and lift a little bit if it is too dark. It would be handy if you use two brushes at the same time. And with one of the brush, you can start to add a little bit more of our brown mix. Let's look at the reference, my reference, or maybe you have your own references in front of you. Just try to add big color spots according to what you see. Today we are painting a little bit more in the realistic style, but I can also imagine how fun it can be to paint a little bit more expressive and abstract, and one day I might, once I will be out of ideas, I will paint it in a little bit different style. So I always remove excess water with my brush, and I can add more and more details. For example, with the tip of the brush, you see this seashell, it has kind of small little ribs. Let's paint another part, brownish, and I would like to vary our brown paints. I add a drop of alizarin crimson to make it a little bit more pinky. I wash my brush, I dry it with a paper towel, and I soften a little bit with more grayish bluish mix. I will paint this shady part. It has a little bit of shades here, touches of ultramarine blue, and with dry brush I can lift a little bit the colors like this. I will start to add grayish mix still I like it a little bit more on the blue side, like this. Let's see, this part will be mostly in the sunshine, so we can go pretty brave with painting the darker part. And then with clean and dry brush, I go around all these mixes and correct, soften a little bit the shape. Now I change to my smaller brush, so I need a slightly bolder mix. I remove some water on my paper towel, and with the tip of the brush I will start to add details. Wet and wet, just moving my hand relatively free, just trying to follow the shape of the seashell, something like this. Now let's add a little bit more of brownish, just following the same lines but with brown mix. I can even add slightly bolder mix. It will immediately add feeling of sunshine, of warmth once you add it. This paper holds water pretty nice, pretty long, therefore it's very convenient to paint in wet and wet techniques on this paper. Let's add more details. I can see that paper gets dry in this upper sector, so I would not probably add more, but right here I would like to play a little bit with pink, with alizarin crimson touches. Now let's paint this bottom part. It's relatively dark, so I need to mix basically same paints, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, but in more bold consistency. I would like to paint it a little bit bolder, and then I wash my brush, I dry it with a paper towel, soften a little bit this dark part, and add one more detail. I always leave a little bit of white areas. It helps to divide all these parts of seashell, and I can add a couple of pretty bold details at the very back. Now let's have fun with this open part. I glaze it with my brush. Try to remove puddles. I see a lot of bright colors, burnt sienna, and with the tip of the brush I just go around this edge and add my bolder mix, and I let it flow down. Try to imitate this wavy edge. The more you go down, the darker it is, the more shades we have, so you can just add our bold mix into this part. Same actually here on the top, and at this very bottom. This is our darkest corner, so right now I grab all my dark paints I have, and I carefully go around, mixing, always mixing. Your painting you should not be bored with using the same paint again and again, so just add a little bit of different mixes. We have plenty of them here. On that area the shades will be lighter, so I don't add too much. Now I wash my brush, I dry it with a paper towel, and with the tip of the brush I start to drag down colors from top to bottom. So I basically use my bold mix, nice waves, nice shape of the seashell. If you do not have enough of bold mix, just grab something from your palette similar to the colors on the rib. And if you see there, sometimes they're a little bit darker, sometimes they're a little bit lighter. So always try to vary colors, just like this. Now let's connect them with the bottom part. And basically we repeat the same thing, the same trick, but move our brush from bottom to top. And the more you go in the shady part, the more flat you can hold your brush. Something about this. Now just time for some little tiny details. Maybe add a couple of really bright brush strokes like this. Ultramarine blue, grayish mix. Go around, add this light detail. Seashell has some thickness, and with adding this tiny line around, I can emphasize, I can show that it has some weight, it has some thickness. Now let's add a little bit more of shades in this part. In the right part, just on the top of what we painted. You can wash your brush, dry it with a paper towel, and with the tip of the brush soften it a little bit if you don't like sharp edges. Before applying these shades, make sure that your paper is dry. The previous layer is dry, otherwise it will create kind of unpleasant bloomy effect. Then just soften it a little bit. Now we created volume, burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. I'll just go around and add a small touch again. And soften the shade with the tip of the brush. As a final touch, you can add a couple of dry brush strokes. So just a couple of these brush strokes, and I will remove only in this shady part. I will remove this white area carefully, so we have a feeling that it's not the edge of a seashell, that's the round shape which goes inside. So now the seashell is ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope it was fun. Please let me know in comments what would you like to paint next, what painting ideas do you have for the 100-day project. And see you soon. Bye bye.